The arrival of the outsiders. On a distant planet named Varanthia, the sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting warm golden rays across the bustling human colony. This colony was home to brave people who had left Earth in search of a new life. They built homes, farms, and schools, creating a small yet thriving community. But today, the air buzzed with excitement and worry. Rumors had spread that an alien ship was approaching, and everyone was curious and anxious about what this might mean. In the center of the colony, a crowd gathered around David, a young engineer known for his quick thinking and problem-solving skills. He was tall, with tousled brown hair and a friendly smile. David had a natural ability to lead, and the other colonists looked to him for guidance. As they spoke among themselves, David could sense their fears. What if the aliens want to conquer us? What if they think we are just filthy animals? Whispered one of the colonists, her eyes wide with fear. David raised his hand to quiet the crowd. Listen, everyone. We need to stay calm. We don't know their intentions yet. Let's be ready to welcome them with open minds. His voice was steady, and he tried to instill hope in their hearts. Deep down, David was worried too. He had heard stories about alien races that looked down on humans, but he believed that humans had much to offer. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the massive alien ship landed near the colony. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The ship gleamed with metallic colors, and strange symbols covered its surface. The colonists watched in awe and fear as a hatch opened and a group of aliens stepped out. They were tall, slender beings with smooth skin that shimmered in the light. Their eyes were large and black, and their expressions were difficult to read. They moved gracefully, but there was an air of superiority about them. The leader of the aliens stepped forward. His voice echoed as he spoke in a language that no one understood. David noticed that the alien seemed to command respect from the others, and he appeared to be the one in charge. The colonists stood frozen, unsure of what to do. After a few tense moments, an alien with a small device stepped forward. He spoke slowly in broken English. "We come to see human life." The words were clumsy, but they were enough to break the ice. David took a deep breath and stepped forward, raising his hand in greeting. "Welcome to Varanthia. I'm David. We're glad to have you here." The alien seemed surprised by his friendly gesture. The leader tilted his head slightly, as if trying to understand David's intentions. "You are, David? You are, leader." David felt a rush of pride at the recognition, but also a wave of responsibility. "Yes, I am here to help. What would you like to see?" The aliens exchanged glances, their eyes flickering with curiosity. "Show us your technology," the leader commanded. David nodded, determined to prove that humans were capable of much more than they might think. As the aliens followed David through the colony, they observed everything with a critical eye. The humans showed them their homes, farms, and even their power generators. David explained how they grew food and harnessed energy from the sun. The aliens watched closely, their expressions unreadable. At one point, an alien pointed at a small generator. "Primitive, weak," he stated bluntly. David felt a sting of embarrassment. He had worked hard to create that generator, and it had provided power to the colony for years. "It may seem small to you," David replied, his voice steady, "but it is efficient for us. We make the best with what we have." The leader looked at David, intrigued. "You believe in potential?" David nodded, hoping that the aliens would begin to understand the human spirit. "Yes, we believe in improving ourselves and our technology. We are always learning." The group moved on, but David couldn't shake the feeling that the aliens were not impressed. They continued to make comments that felt dismissive. It was clear they underestimated human capabilities, viewing them as nothing more than primitive beings. David felt a spark of determination rise within him. He wanted to show them that humans were more than they thought. As the tour ended, the leader of the aliens addressed the colonists. "You are interesting, but weak. The words echoed in the air, and David felt a wave of anger mixed with disappointment. He knew that the aliens had only seen a glimpse of what humans could do. They had faced challenges, adapted, and survived. "We may be different from you, but we are strong in our own way," David said, looking straight into the alien leader's eyes. "We have a unique way of thinking and solving problems. You will see this." The aliens seemed unfazed by his words, but David saw a flicker of doubt in their eyes. Perhaps they would realize that humans were not just weak, but resilient and capable. The encounter had ignited a fire in him, and he was determined to prove it. As night fell, the humans gathered around a large fire in the center of the colony. They shared stories and reflected on the day's events. David spoke passionately about the importance of showing the aliens the strength of humanity. "We must work together, learn from each other, and show them that we are not to be underestimated," he urged. The colonists nodded, their spirits lifted by David's words. The stars twinkled brightly overhead, and David felt a sense of hope. The arrival of the outsiders was just the beginning of a journey where humans could showcase their true potential. David knew that the challenges ahead would be great, but so would the rewards. They were ready to prove to the aliens that they were not just ordinary beings. They were extraordinary. The first challenge. As dawn broke over Varanthia, David woke with a sense of urgency. The sun shone brightly, casting its golden light across the colony. Today was the day he planned to demonstrate the true strength of humanity to the alien visitors. He gathered the colonists for a morning meeting, filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. They had heard the aliens' dismissive comments, and everyone felt the need to show them that they were not to be underestimated. "We have to prepare something special today," David announced, his eyes shining with determination. "We'll demonstrate our technology and our resilience. They need to see that we can innovate and adapt, just like any advanced civilization." The colonists nodded, their spirits lifted by David's words. "What do you have in mind?" one of them asked. David smiled, his mind racing with ideas. "Let's show them how we can transform our resources into something extraordinary. We'll set up a challenge, a race using our hovercrafts." Hovercrafts were vehicles the humans had developed to glide over the ground with minimal friction. They were not as advanced as alien technology, but they had been reliable and useful for transporting goods across the rocky terrain of Varanthia. David knew the aliens would be surprised by their capabilities. As the colonists prepared for the race, David felt a mix of excitement and fear. He knew that the aliens would likely look for any reason to criticize. "Make sure the hovercrafts are ready," he instructed his team. "We want to impress them." Meanwhile, the alien group observed the preparations with curiosity. The leader, who had not yet shared his name, watched intently as David and the others worked. David approached him, hoping to establish a connection. "What do you think?" he asked, gesturing to the hovercrafts. "They are designed for efficiency and speed." The alien leader tilted his head, studying the vehicles. "Interesting design. But how fast?" he replied, his tone still somewhat dismissive. David felt a surge of determination. "Let's find out. You'll see how we handle challenges." Once everything was in place, David gathered the colonists and the aliens at the starting line. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. "Welcome to the hovercraft race," David announced, trying to keep the excitement in his voice. "This will demonstrate our innovation and teamwork." The alien leader watched, skeptical. "You believe this game will prove your strength?" David nodded, feeling confident. "Yes, it will show our ability to adapt and compete. Ready, everyone." With that, the race began. The hovercrafts glided forward, the sound of their engines humming in the air. David piloted his craft skillfully, navigating through the rocky terrain with ease. He focused on the track, determined to keep his eyes on the goal. As the race continued, David could feel the tension in the air, both from his fellow colonists and the aliens watching closely. As they approached a narrow canyon, David noticed something unexpected. One of the alien hovercrafts was lagging behind. The pilot appeared to struggle, unable to maneuver as quickly as the humans. David glanced back, noticing the alien's frustration. Instead of feeling triumph, he felt a sense of empathy. "We've all been there," he thought, remembering his own early struggles with the craft. With the finish line in sight, David made a bold decision. He slowed down his hovercraft, allowing the alien to catch up. "Come on, you can do it," he shouted, urging the alien to push harder. The alien looked surprised but seemed to understand the gesture. He pushed his craft forward, and together they crossed the finish line side by side. The crowd erupted in cheers, and David felt a surge of pride. They had worked together, showcasing their abilities and respect for one another. The alien leader's expression shifted from skepticism to intrigue. "You? Help?" he asked, surprised by David's choice. "Yes," David replied with a smile. "We believe in supporting one another, even in competition." As they gathered after the race, the alien leader approached David. "You show strength, not only in speed but in unity." David felt a sense of relief. Maybe this was the moment they could begin to bridge the gap between their worlds. "Thank you," he replied sincerely. "We are stronger together, and I hope we can learn from each other." The aliens began to mingle with the colonists, and conversations flowed more freely. The earlier tension seemed to fade, replaced by a sense of camaraderie. David noticed that the alien leader was now asking questions about the hovercraft technology, clearly impressed by the humans' ingenuity. The day ended with laughter and stories shared around the fire. David felt a warm sense of achievement. They had faced the first challenge and shown the aliens the depth of human spirit and resilience. He knew that this was just the beginning of a long journey, but they had taken the first step. As the stars twinkled above, David looked at the alien leader, who was deep in conversation with one of the colonists. There was hope in his heart that this friendship could blossom into something greater. Humans had faced many challenges in their history, but perhaps this was an opportunity to show that they were not just survivors. They were innovators, thinkers, and resilient in the face of adversity. The future was bright, and David was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and determination. Unlikely allies. The sun rose slowly over Varanthia, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. The previous day's hovercraft race had transformed the atmosphere among the humans and the aliens. What had started as a meeting filled with tension was now a budding friendship. David felt invigorated as he stepped outside his quarters, eager to greet the day and see how the new alliance might unfold. As he walked through the colony, David could see the aliens and humans interacting in ways he hadn't anticipated. Laughter echoed around him, and he noticed groups forming where knowledge was being shared. Humans showed aliens how to use tools, while the aliens explained some of their advanced technologies. This exchange was just the beginning, and David's heart swelled with pride. David decided to gather everyone again for a meeting. "We need to talk about our next steps," he announced as he stood in front of the group. "We've shown the aliens our strength and teamwork. Now it's time to see how we can help each other." The alien leader, who David learned was named Zephyr, stepped forward. "Humans show resilience. We want to learn more," he said, his voice steady. "Your survival skills on this harsh planet are impressive. We could collaborate to enhance our abilities." The colonists exchanged glances, excitement and curiosity lighting up their faces. David felt a spark of hope. "What do you suggest?" he asked. Zephyr paused, contemplating. "We face many challenges on our home planet too. We have technology for healing, but it may not work in your environment. Perhaps we can help you with medical knowledge, and you can teach us about your survival tactics." The suggestion ignited a flurry of conversation among the colonists. "That could work," one said. "We can share our techniques for finding food and shelter. The aliens can teach us about their advanced medical practices." David felt a rush of enthusiasm. "Let's create a schedule for training sessions. We can meet in the mornings to learn from each other." Everyone nodded. excitement buzzing in the air. David realized that this collaboration could become a powerful alliance, bridging their two cultures and creating something extraordinary. The first training session began the next day. David and the colonists gathered in the central square, where Zephyr and his group set up their equipment. The aliens demonstrated their advanced healing technology, which was unlike anything the humans had seen. They used glowing devices to scan for injuries, and the aliens explained how their medicine worked on a cellular level. David watched closely, fascinated by the process. He raised his hand. "Can this help with severe injuries?" he asked. Zephyr nodded. "Yes, it can repair damage that would be fatal. However, it requires energy and resources we must find together." As the demonstration continued, David could see the colonists' eyes widening with interest. They were amazed by the aliens' technology and eager to learn more. One colonist, Sarah, stepped forward. "We've dealt with injuries before. We know how to treat wounds using natural remedies. Perhaps we can show you." "Indeed," Zephyr replied. "Sharing knowledge is vital. We have much to learn from one another." In the following weeks, training sessions became a regular occurrence. The humans taught the aliens how to forage for food in the wild, identifying edible plants and hunting small game. They shared their techniques for building sturdy shelters, adapted for the rough climate of Varanthia. In turn, the aliens shared their advanced medical practices, teaching the colonists how to treat wounds more effectively and heal faster. As the days passed, a bond began to form between the two groups. David noticed how friendships blossomed, with colonists and aliens sharing meals and stories. They laughed together, bridging the gap that once divided them. Zephyr and David often found themselves deep in conversation, discussing everything from their respective histories to their dreams for the future. One evening, as they gathered around a fire, David asked Zephyr, "What was your first impression of us?" Zephyr chuckled, a sound that resonated with warmth. "We believed humans were primitive and chaotic. Your world is filled with dangers. But now, I see strength in your adaptability and creativity." David smiled, feeling a sense of pride in his species. "We've faced many challenges, but we're survivors. We find a way to thrive, even in the harshest conditions." Zephyr nodded. "You teach me much. I did not understand the depth of your resilience until now." As the weeks turned into months, their collaboration grew stronger. The aliens started to adapt some of the human survival techniques, while the colonists became more adept at using advanced medical equipment. They learned from one another and forged a unique partnership that neither side had expected. One day, a sudden storm swept through the region. Wind howled and rain poured down, threatening the colony's safety. David watched as the alien technology went to work, using energy shields to protect their shelters. Humans quickly joined forces, reinforcing structures and helping each other. In the heart of the storm, David felt the power of their newfound alliance. They were no longer separate beings from different worlds. They were united in purpose, working together to overcome adversity. The storm tested their strength, but it also solidified their bond. As the clouds cleared, David looked around at the bustling activity. They were rebuilding, stronger than before, and he felt a sense of hope for the future. They were not just surviving. They were thriving, learning, and growing together. Little did they know, challenges were still ahead. But for now, they had become unlikely allies, united by their shared experiences and the belief that together they could face anything that came their way. The journey of cooperation had only just begun, and David was eager to see where it would lead. The challenge of the unknown. The days turned into weeks, and the alliance between humans and aliens flourished. However, despite the harmony they created, David sensed that they were on the brink of something significant. The colony had successfully adapted to their new ways, but challenges loomed on the horizon. One afternoon, while David was organizing supplies, Zephyr approached him with a serious expression. "We have a problem," he said, his voice low and urgent. We are detecting unusual energy readings from the forest to the north. It is unlike anything we have encountered. David frowned, concern gnawing at his stomach. What kind of readings? High levels of energy fluctuations, Zephyr explained. It could be a natural phenomenon or something more dangerous. We should investigate before it affects the colony. David nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. Let's gather a team. We can't ignore it. Together, they assembled a group of humans and aliens ready to explore the mysterious energy source. As they made their way through the dense forest, the atmosphere shifted. The air crackled with energy, making David's skin tingle. The group pressed on, curiosity driving them deeper into the unknown. After several hours of trekking, they reached a clearing. In the center stood a massive structure, pulsating with a strange light. David stared in awe. "What is that?" he whispered, almost afraid to disturb the eerie calm. Zephyr studied the structure, his brow furrowed in concentration. "I do not know, but the energy readings are off the charts. We must be cautious." David felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Let's get closer," he suggested. The group approached, staying vigilant as they took in the towering structure. It looked ancient, covered in vines and glowing softly, like a heartbeat in the forest. Suddenly, the ground shook, and a blinding light erupted from the structure. The group stumbled back, fear coursing through them. David shouted, "Get back!" They scrambled to find cover, hearts racing. As the light dimmed, they cautiously peeked out. The structure seemed to have activated, and an alien voice echoed through the clearing. "Who disturbs the slumber of the ancients?" The group exchanged terrified glances. David took a step forward, his heart pounding. "We are explorers. We mean no harm." The voice paused, then responded, "You seek knowledge, but knowledge comes with a price. You must prove your worth to the ancients." David felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you want us to do?" he asked, his voice steady despite the fear bubbling within him. "Enter the trials of resilience. Only those who endure will be deemed worthy. The ancients will judge you," the voice replied. And with that, the structure pulsed again, revealing an entrance bathed in soft blue light. David turned to Zephyr and the others. "We have to do this. It might be the key to understanding the energy and what lies ahead." Zephyr nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "Together, we can face whatever challenges await." They entered the structure, stepping into a vast chamber filled with glowing symbols and ancient technology. The air felt heavy, charged with an energy that hummed around them. As they ventured deeper, they found themselves in a circular arena, surrounded by glowing barriers that pulsed like the heart of the forest. The voice echoed again, "The trials begin now. Prove your strength, wisdom, and unity." The first challenge emerged. A giant, shadowy figure formed in front of them, towering over the group. It roared, and David felt the ground shake beneath him. "We need to work together," he shouted. The aliens used their technology, firing beams of light at the shadowy figure while the humans strategized. They quickly devised a plan, coordinating their attacks. David led the charge, wielding a makeshift weapon while urging his team forward. With each strike, the shadow grew weaker, and they began to feel a sense of unity and strength. They fought as one, combining their skills until, finally, with one last push, the shadow dissolved into shimmering particles. Panting and exhilarated, the group cheered. "We did it!" Sarah shouted, her face beaming with pride. David felt a rush of adrenaline, knowing that this was just the beginning. But the voice echoed again, calm and unwavering. "You have passed the first trial. Prepare for the next." The second challenge was a test of wisdom. A series of puzzles appeared in the arena, each more complicated than the last. David felt the pressure as they worked together to solve each puzzle, combining their knowledge and skills. They debated, discussed, and shared ideas, realizing that their diverse backgrounds only made them stronger. Finally, After what felt like an eternity that completed the final puzzle, the arena lit up and the voice spoke once more. You have shown resilience and wisdom. The last trial awaits. As they prepared for the final challenge, David felt a sense of camaraderie between the humans and aliens. They were no longer just allies. They were friends, bound by their shared experiences. The final challenge was a test of unity. The arena shifted, and they found themselves in a chaotic landscape filled with obstacles. The group had to navigate through treacherous terrain while supporting each other. David led the way, encouraging everyone to communicate and stay connected. They stumbled and fell, but quickly helped each other back on their feet. It was challenging, but their determination shone through as they worked together to overcome each obstacle. At last, they reached the end of the trial, breathless and exhausted. The voice echoed again, filled with respect. You have proven yourselves worthy. The ancients have watched your journey, and you are now allies of the ancient knowledge. As the light enveloped them, David felt a surge of hope and possibility. This was just the beginning. Together, they had faced the unknown and emerged stronger than ever. With newfound wisdom and strength, David and the group stepped out of the structure, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. They had forged a bond that would transcend their differences and change the course of their futures. Little did they know, their greatest challenges were still to come. But for now, they had proven that together they could accomplish the impossible. They had awakened the power within themselves and each other, and the universe was ready to see what they could achieve. Unveiling ancient secrets. After the trials, David and his team emerged from the ancient structure, hearts racing with excitement and a sense of achievement. They had faced incredible challenges together and had grown closer as a group. The forest around them buzzed with life, as if the very trees were celebrating their success. "Did you see that?" Sarah exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "We actually did it. The ancients accepted us." Zephyr nodded, a smile breaking through his usual calm demeanor. "Your strength, wisdom, and unity have forged a bond that transcends our differences. Together, we can achieve great things." David felt a swell of pride in his chest. This is just the beginning. We've awakened something important here. Let's explore the knowledge we've gained and see how we can use it to benefit our colony. As they walked back towards their camp, the air felt electric with possibilities. The ancient structure had revealed a hidden part of the forest, and David was eager to learn more about what lay within. He had an idea that there were secrets waiting to be uncovered. Arriving at the camp, they shared their experiences with the other humans and aliens, recounting the trials and the powerful voice of the ancients. The camp buzzed with energy and excitement as everyone gathered to hear the story. "We are not just survivors anymore," David said, addressing the crowd. "We have become allies of ancient knowledge. Together, we can enhance our technology and strengthen our defenses against any threats that may come our way." The crowd cheered, fueled by a newfound sense of purpose. But as they celebrated, David couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The energy readings from the forest still loomed in his mind, and he sensed that the trials were only the beginning. The following days were filled with intense exploration and learning. The humans and aliens worked side by side, combining their skills and knowledge to unlock the mysteries of the ancient structure. They discovered artifacts, writings, and technology that hinted at a deeper understanding of the universe. One evening, as David examined an ancient tablet, he noticed a series of symbols that resembled the energy readings they had detected earlier. Excited, he called over Zephyr. "Look at this. I think it might connect to the energy fluctuations we sensed before." Zephyr studied the tablet closely, his brow furrowing in concentration. "You're right. This suggests that there's a source of power nearby, perhaps even tied to the ancients. We must investigate further." Gathering a small team, David and Zephyr prepared to explore deeper into the forest. Armed with the knowledge they had gained, they set out to uncover the source of the mysterious energy. The journey was intense, filled with the thrill of adventure and the weight of responsibility. As they ventured further, they found themselves in a clearing surrounded by enormous trees. At the center stood a massive stone circle, its surface covered in glowing runes that pulsed with energy. David felt a powerful force emanating from the stones, and his heart raced with anticipation. "What is this place?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "I believe it's a power conduit," Zephyr replied, awe evident in his voice. "The ancients used this to harness energy from the surrounding environment. We could use this knowledge to enhance our technology and protect our colony." David stepped closer, feeling the energy surge through him. "We need to study this site and see how we can utilize its power. This could be the key to our survival." The team set to work, documenting the rooms and taking samples of the stone. As they worked, David noticed a pattern in the energy fluctuations. He realized that the energy seemed to pulse in sync with their efforts, responding to their intentions. "This is incredible," he said, excitement bubbling inside him. "It's almost as if the stones are alive, reacting to what we're doing. We have to find a way to connect with it." With Zephyr's guidance, they created a device to harness the energy. The team worked late into the night, fueled by the thrill of discovery. As dawn broke, they had fashioned a prototype that glowed with potential. "We need to test it," David said, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "Let's see if we can channel the energy from the stone circle into our device." They gathered around the stone circle, their hearts racing as David activated the prototype. Energy surged through the device, and the rooms began to glow brighter. The air crackled with power, and David felt a rush of excitement and fear. Suddenly, the device emitted a blinding light, enveloping them in a shimmering aura. David shielded his eyes, but the energy felt warm and inviting. As the light faded, he found himself standing before a vision, a glimpse into the past. Images of the ancients flashed before him, their great civilization thriving as they harnessed the power of the stones. He saw their struggles, their triumphs, and their ultimate downfall. It was a powerful reminder of the responsibility they now held. David gasped, returning to reality. "We must use this power wisely." The ancients were strong, but their desire for power led to their ruin. "We have to find a balance." Zephyr nodded solemnly. "You are right. We must learn from their mistakes. We have a chance to create a better future, not just for us, but for all life in this galaxy." As they left the stone circle, David felt a renewed sense of purpose. The power they had discovered was immense, and with it came a heavy burden. They were not just explorers anymore. They were guardians of ancient knowledge. With determination in their hearts, they returned to their colony, ready to share what they had learned. The alliance between humans and aliens had grown stronger, and together they would strive to protect their world and the wisdom of the ancients. Little did they know that their journey was only beginning. The energy readings from the forest had awakened something else, something that would test their resolve and their unity in ways they could never have imagined. But for now, they stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Shadows of the past. Days turned into weeks as David and his team worked tirelessly to harness the ancient power they had discovered. The colony buzzed with energy and hope. Humans and aliens collaborated like never before, sharing their knowledge and skills to develop technology that could change the course of their survival. However, beneath the excitement lay an unshakable tension. Strange occurrences began to plague the camp. Tools went missing, equipment malfunctioned without reason, and the air was thick with an unsettling feeling. David felt a growing sense of unease, as if something was watching them from the shadows. One evening, while reviewing the data from their energy experiments, David noticed an anomaly in the readings. The energy pulses from the stone circle had changed. They fluctuated unpredictably, spiking and dipping in a way he hadn't seen before. He shared his findings with Zephyr and Sarah, who exchanged worried glances. "This doesn't feel right," Sarah said, biting her lip. "What if we've disturbed something we shouldn't have?" Zephyr's gaze was intense. We must investigate. There might be forces at play that we do not understand. They decided to return to the stone circle to uncover the source of the disturbances. As they made their way through the forest, David could feel a weight in the air, almost as if the trees themselves were holding their breath. Shadows danced at the edge of their vision, and the once familiar surroundings now felt foreign and ominous. Upon reaching the stone circle, they found it pulsing erratically, the runes flickering like a heartbeat gone awry. David approached cautiously, his heart pounding. He felt a pull, a connection to the stones that both thrilled and terrified him. "Something is wrong," David said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It feels different here. We may have awakened something." As he reached out to touch one of the stones, a blast of energy surged through him. He stumbled back, clutching his head as visions flooded his mind. The ancients appeared once more, but this time their expressions were grim. They showed him images of destruction, of battles fought in desperation, and of their civilization's downfall. "No," David gasped, shaking off the vision. "We need to leave. We have to get back to the colony." Sarah and Zephyr nodded, sharing his urgency as they retreated from the stone circle. As they hurried back, David could feel the shadows closing in around them. He glanced over his shoulder and froze. Dark figures flickered among the trees, watching, waiting. "Did you see that?" he asked, fear creeping into his voice. "Let's move," Zephyr urged, picking up the pace. The three of them raced through the forest, the sense of being hunted pushing them forward. When they reached the camp, they found it in chaos. Tents were torn apart, and the air was filled with the sounds of panicked voices. Alien and human members of the colony were running in every direction, their faces pale with fear. "What happened?" David shouted as he joined a group trying to restore order. A young alien named Jarek, trembling, explained, "We were attacked." Shadows emerged from the forest, and they were like nothing we've ever seen. "Where are they now?" David asked, his mind racing. "They disappeared into the woods," Jarek replied. "But they were unlike anything we've ever encountered, strong and relentless." David exchanged a look with Zephyr and Sarah. "We need to gather everyone and defend our camp. We cannot let fear take over." As the sun began to set, casting eerie shadows across the camp, the colonists banded together, preparing for the worst. They set up barriers and fortified their defenses, determined to protect their home. David could feel the tension in the air, thick and heavy. "We can't just wait for them to attack," David said, rallying the group. "We need to take the fight to them. We can't allow this to go unchecked." With Zephyr at his side, they organized a scouting party. They would investigate the forest, seeking answers to the dark presence that threatened their lives. The group moved cautiously, weapons at the ready, their senses heightened. As they entered the trees, David felt the oppressive weight of the shadows around them. Whispers echoed through the air, and he could almost make out words, though he could not understand their meaning. The group pressed forward, determination coursing through them. After what felt like hours of searching, they stumbled upon a clearing where the shadows seemed to pulse and throb. At its center was a dark, swirling mass, a vortex of energy that hummed ominously. David felt a deep sense of dread wash over him. "This is the source," Zephyr said, his voice steady despite the fear etched on his face. "We must close it before it consumes everything." The team set to work, using the knowledge they had gained from the ancient stones. They combined their efforts, creating a device that could channel the energy back into the earth. As they worked, the shadows began to writhe and surge, reacting violently to their presence. "Stay focused," David shouted. "We can do this." With a final surge of energy, they activated the device. The vortex roared to life, swirling violently as it fought against their efforts. The shadows lashed out, trying to push them back, but the team held firm, fueled by their unity. Just as it seemed they would be overwhelmed, the ancient runes from the stone circle began to glow brightly in their minds, guiding their efforts. David felt a connection to the ancients once more, a bond of strength and determination. Together, they pushed back against the darkness, channeling their will into the device. With a deafening roar, the vortex collapsed, releasing a blinding light that engulfed them all. The shadows shrieked, dissipating into nothingness. As the light faded, David found himself on his knees, breathless but alive. "We did it," Sarah cried, disbelief and joy flooding her voice. David looked around, seeing the faces of his team lit with relief. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, united by a common purpose. But he knew this battle was only a part of a larger struggle. The ancient knowledge they had uncovered was both a blessing and a burden. As they returned to the camp, David felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him once more. They had awakened something deep within the forest, and he wondered what other secrets lay hidden in the shadows. With the echoes of their battle still fresh in his mind, David steeled himself for the challenges ahead. They had survived this confrontation, but he knew that their journey was far from over. Together, they would face whatever came next, determined to protect their colony and the fragile bond they had forged.